All right. Welcome to another episode of Millennial Money Matters with Kelly Turner.
And Derek Mazzarella.
And we have a special guest today, my friend Pam Sanzo. Pam has worked in the travel industry for a very long time. And Derek and I were talking a little bit about travel the last couple times, that where do millennials like to spend money? We like to travel. So hi, Pam.
Hello there. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Do you want to just tell everybody a little bit of what do you do, a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, I have been in the cruise and hotel industry for about 30 years. I started off right after high school. I got a cruise for a gift, and I became an obsessive cruiser ever since then. I joined a company right after high school selling travel, mainly cruises. So I became a cruise expert right away. And then after 5 years, I joined, I went into the hotel industry. And currently right now, I am booking vacations for families, for groups, mainly cruises or group travel through my company, Pamrock Inspired. I'm also an independent travel consultant with Cruise Brothers out of Rhode Island, who are one of the largest cruise-focused travel agencies in the United States.
I love it. What made you kind of pick cruises? What was as you think back to that first cruise, what was the thing that you were like, yes, this is for me?
Yeah, I went on board with two of my friends. We shared one cabin. And I remember it clearly, like everything about it. And I loved it. And I actually thought I was going to end up being a cruise director. I just fell in love with the cruise. Every day you wake up, you were in a different port. And then I met the cruise director and we started talking, and I'm like, I want to do this. I went back and I'm like, Mom, I don't want to go to college. I want to work on a cruise ship. She's like, well, you should think about that. But instead I went and worked at a company actually out of West Hartford. And I did that for about 5 years. They were only cruise specialists, and that's what I did. And I love cruising. So I love the water.
And I think that was, as we were talking about sort of millennials and travel, the cruise industry keeps growing, right? Every year the ships get crazier and cooler and bigger. But I also think, as we talk about millennials and our financially savvy hearts, we like cruising because it's a little bit all inclusive. It's what you're paying, you kind of know in advance. But there is a lot of people who don't necessarily know what they're doing. They're just going online, they're booking cruises. Do you have any thoughts on, why does somebody use a travel agent? Why does somebody use a cruise specialist instead of just logging online and trying to find, a deal?
Yeah. Well, the benefit of working with a travel agency or travel agent, they're going to find the right destination for you. What do you like to do? What's important to you when you travel? For a cruise, are you are you bringing the family? Those mega ships out there right now have everything you can think about and more. And they keep growing. I mean, racetracks around the cruise ships, the pools, the slides. So you're going in that direction with that, or they can help you, a couple's getaway. I want good food. I don't want a lot of kids running around. I get that a lot. And what ship to go on? Most ships, you can't guarantee there's going to be no kids, but there are cruise ships now coming out, like Virgin, that have no kids allowed. You have to be 18 and over to go on that. And people are loving those cruise lines. So using a travel agency, I think, is very beneficial. They can help you save money. I'll give an example right now. I had a family who's going to Europe this summer. By the time that they did their deposit and they did their final payment, I saved $2,000 for them.
Wow.
How did I do that? I constantly checked for promotions for them. So they couldn't believe the money they saved. If they did that on their own, they would never have gotten that discount.
No, you just book it and then you never worry about it again.
Yes.
You never worry about it again. Now, there's a lot of cruise lines out there.
Yes.
Right? Do you have thoughts on any of them? Is there do you like a favorite, or do you kind of feel like they're different for different needs?
Definitely different needs. My two favorites are Royal Caribbean and Norwegian, but there's a big difference is the spa. I go on Norwegian because of the spa. They have amazing spas. But Royal Caribbean, I'll go with all my friends. There's a lot more things to do. They have the big boardwalks. So there's a lot of different things. But if someone wants food quality and that's what they're going for, I might select another cruise line for them. It just depends on what people are looking for.
Yeah, are some better for the excursions too, or is that a different factor?
Excursion, it depends on the islands you're going to visit. What are you looking to do? Do you want to go out and snorkel? Do you want just a party adventure? It just depends on, what they're looking for. Excursions for sure. If I like going on out of the deep Caribbean. I like going out of San Juan because I like those warmer islands. Almost every time you go out there, you're going to get warmer islands. I was just on 2 cruises and both of them were cold because the Bahamas are chilly at this time of year. So if I really want to do water sports, I head to Puerto Rico and go out of a cruise out of there. So
yeah, that makes sense to me. So I went on a cruise the week between Christmas and New Year's that left out of New Jersey. And it was really great. We picked it because then we didn't have to fly with it. It was my kid's first cruise, but we never really contemplated that we got on a cruise ship in New Jersey in December. It did not get warm really at all, ever. We went from New Jersey to Cape Canaveral to Perfect Day at CocoCay. We were on Royal Caribbean to Nassau and back. But like even in the Bahamas that week, it was like kind of like 70. It was chilly. And I think it was just something that we never thought enough ahead, that we kind of lost almost like 3.5, 4 days of the cruise to like the cold. So
plus you're packing twice as much stuff, right?
Yeah, we had
winter clothes and summer
much
clothes.
Luggage.
Yeah.
We had so much, and I'm an overpacker, but I'm an efficient overpacker.
I can see that.
Yeah, I have everything that you will ever need, but I can fit it in small spaces.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of clothes. There was a lot of clothes on that boat with us.
Yeah.
Now, as people are like looking at cruises and looking online, I think the ships themselves, people don't really realize from even in the same brand, right? And I'll again pick on Royal Caribbean. Yeah. They have teeny tiny ships that are older, and then they have these new ones that are like floating cities. When you're sort of talking to people, like, there's a reason why the old ships still exist. People are still going on them. Like, do some people gravitate more towards those ships, or are these new big fancy ones kind of the way of the future?
Yeah, I mean, most people want the big fancy ships, but some of the older travelers, they like those small, intimate ships. I'm one of them. I have a favorite ship with Norwegian that's small, and it's one of my favorite ships because most of the ships that are growing, they're all related around family activities. For me, it's like, I don't need that. I like the restaurants. So I like the smaller ones, but they're around. Yeah, I was just on an older ship recently, and it's just different. But if someone's going to go play the casinos or want that really like that, those shows, you're going to go on one of those bigger ships. Some of them are just like over the top. Those water shows are becoming popular. They want to go see that. But if they're cruising and they're just cruising to sit on a balcony, read, relax, those smaller ships are perfect, and they save money. I mean, these mega ships are not cheap right now. So you got to have to wait for them to go, a couple of years into sailing. So
to go down.
Yeah.
I think one of the myths that comes up a lot in travel is do you book early or do you book late and try to get a deal? What's your thoughts on that?
I always say book early.
Book early.
Most people think they're just waiting. They're going to get a better deal. It's not happening these days. You get access to group rates. Even with airfare, it's much lower than waiting to the last minute. I've been finding that out recently a lot. But yeah, book early. You have access to early booking specials. You have access to group rates. Even as a couple, you can call me. I might get you a group rate. Even though you're not a group, I can put you in with a group rate that we're holding a group with. So you could definitely save money. Once you get into that 60 days departure time, the rates are typically up, and you're paying some money for that.
So there's no like last minute, I wait till like the week before and there's an empty spot in the cabin.
Back in the day, it used to be like that. But, once in a while, I can't say never. They have resident specials for Florida residents a lot. You can see that, but we're not in Florida. So we have to pay that airfare to go down there, which sometimes is more than what the actual cruise is.
Now, what's considered like the number for a group? Is it like 6? Is it 20?
Usually about 16 people,
16,
8 cabins.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you could find, right? 8 cabins worth of friends to
I think I can
what
do
sort
that.
of things like unlock when you're in a group? Like what can you get, like dining together? Like what sort of things can happen?
Well, we could talk about the one I'm doing this summer. We're going to Alaska, and I have a group of people. I think we have 24 of us going, and you get extra shipboard credits on board. I set up group dinners, specialty dinings. You get packages that are included. They get a drink package included when you do a group. You have special amenities that you can pick when you have a group going. So that's always nice. And you also get one free cruise fare. So if you had 16 people, one of them is a free fare. So, and usually you spread the discount out with everybody.
Yeah.
So,
I got it.
We got to find some friends.
We do.
Yeah.
Are you a cruiser? Do you cruise?
So here's the problem. I've cruised twice in my life. They're both spring break trips
Oh.
in college. So I assume they're going to be very different now that I have kids.
Yeah.
So I've got this like cruises are awesome in my mind. I don't know if that's going to carry through like being an adult.
Yeah, so my husband and I went on a bunch of cruises, like pre-kids. Even we were talking before we started. My honeymoon was a 2-week Mediterranean cruise on Celebrity. It was absolutely like trip of a lifetime. It was amazing. We were in Venice for this thing called the Redentore Festival, which is like their 4th of July. We watched fireworks from the top of the, it was amazing. We went on actually, I went on a cruise in January of 2020. I'm probably one of the only people who cruised in 2020 pre-COVID. We do think we came home with COVID, but that's another story. This was when
surprising.
I think I did
crazy.
too.
Yeah.
I went January 2020.
Yeah, and we are actually on a cruise called an Oceana cruise, which which is like a very small boat. That's very fancy. Everybody's in a suite. It was like a promo cruise for a business my husband worked with, but it was very cool. But we just went on our first like family cruise, like with the family.
Now, was that absolute chaos? Because I've like heard Disney's cruises are really cool and all that stuff.
We didn't do Disney, so we were on a Royal Caribbean. And honestly, I was like very anxious about it. My kids have been on boats plenty of time, but you don't know how people are gonna like. First off, and coming out of New Jersey in December, it is rocky.
Yes,
but the boat is so big, like. You don't even care.
Well, you just get that slight back and forth. You can feel it, especially when you're on it, and then you get off. You're like your body still rocks for like a solid 2 days.
We had that, but like the kids did great. They loved the kids club. And what's actually so funny is I knew I was coming to talk to you today. I bring another little kid to school in the morning, so I had my 3 kids plus him, and my kids were like selling him on this cruise because our cruise ship had bumper cars on it.
Oh yeah,
and we got to have bumper cars, and then you go to the Windjammer. And you can eat whatever you want. And the lemonade is unlimited. And we got to have dessert with breakfast. And like they were like, and I was just laughing. I'm like, this is literally what I'm going to talk about today.
You sold my son. Yeah, my son's like, oh, dessert with breakfast? I'm sold.
Oh,
yes.
The other thing that sold my kids was the like, put whatever you want in an omelet for breakfast. Like that you could bring stuff up to the omelet station from the rest of the buffet. And so my son loves corned beef hash. So he would bring corned beef hash.
That's
you also
interesting.
know my son's favorite food is sushi. Like this kid likes to eat.
Okay, I can see that.
But he would bring a plate of corned beef hash up to the omelet guy and be like, can you please put this in my omelet? So honestly, from the kid standpoint, it was calmer than I expected it to be because there's so much entertainment.
Yeah.
Like your kids are entertained 24/7. Like
right, there's always an activity.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they're going to love it. I guarantee you they're going to love it. You know, when they get married and they have families. My son's like that. So his first cruise was 4 years old. And still to this day, he's taking his wife on cruises now. So
he loves it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think from the affordability standpoint, you know, I am also a Disney adult, which I think we've mentioned on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Derek is disgusted by it. It's fine. You
Just
see
don't get
that?
it.
I even know that.
Yeah. I love Disney. But Disney is very expensive these days. It is borderline outrageous. And I was just surprised like how affordable cruising is, but even like just in general, how affordable travel can be if you were working with the right people.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said to you before, Disney is its own world. So working with a travel expert that specializes in Disney, go for it. Do that. They know discounts. They can find things for you. I'm not one of those people. So I always direct my friends, call so-and-so over here. They're Disney experts. Go to an expert with whatever destination. I'm going to tell you if I can and can't do it for you. So yeah, definitely go to them.
Well, getting back to the early questions, I don't think we pinpointed this. So you said booking early. Like what's a booking early time frame? Is it like how far in advance?
6 months to a year.
To a year?
I mean, most of my groups book almost a year out, especially when it's family vacations, because to coordinate everyone to come in and do it together. I mean, I think my Alaska one, we've done it almost a year out when we booked it, and it just helps that way. And you can get so many more incentives if you book.
Are you typically paying everything up front, or you like half deposit now,
just
half later?
Deposit.
Just deposit. Okay.
Deposit. Some people will do a payment plan because it helps them, and then final payments usually due about 45 days prior.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, because one of the things I'm always obviously working with clients on is like everyone's number one goal is always like vacations. Like not one person's like, oh, I'm not going to go anywhere. Like it does happen, but it's pretty common that everyone has a budget. Like, so if someone's budgeting for like, let's say a low end cruise versus a high end cruise, like what's kind of the range that they should be kind of planning for?
For money wise?
Yeah.
I mean, you can do something, depending on who it is, if they're looking for a party cruise, a weekend cruise. I mean, you can do everything with $1,000. You can probably get a really nice vacation. If you can also, I always tell people, if you can travel on shoulder months, like go into Europe, go in May or September versus September, going in peak months, you're going to save a lot of money if that's where you want to go. But I'd say $1,000 can get you a nice 7-day vacation these days. I mean, the rates on some of the older ships are down. So I can plan something there, but it just depends on the where they want to go.
So, so that in that case, basically, if you go for a full month and you're spending $4,000 cheaper than buying a home, right?
Yeah, it actually. But there are people who do that.
Oh, yeah.
Have you worked with anyone that has like really done that, where they said, "Hey, look, we're just gonna not have a house. We're gonna."
I have a friend that pretty much lives on a cruise these days. So, and it is cheaper than being home. They still have their home, but they live on a cruise, and the rates are sometimes can be so amazing that $40 a day will cover everything.
Wow. Really? So how does that, all right, so now I'm just curious.
I know.
How does that work with like a long-term, you just stay in the boat the whole time?
Yeah,
or is it like,
well, some ports you have to get off or
Yeah.
you have to go to a special room when they're embarking and disembarking. But no, you can piece cruises together. You can go on the same ship, one sailing after another, but you just have to move, wait for people to leave you, and then they check you back in.
are you buying it at like a month clip, or are you just doing like 1 week?
You always have to do their segments, whatever the cruise line
it is.
segment.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
unless
you
you
can't
do,
be like-
there's a round the world cruise. It could be 90 days or something. You could do back to back. So
Interesting. So you can't be like, all right, I'm going to do a 3-month block, and then they
you just have to
reserve
piece it together.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to piece it together.
Well, a lot of them, like a lot of the cruise ships are like loops. So they'll like the cruise ship that I went on in December is the same itinerary for like 3 months. It does the exact same. It goes to Bayonne. It does its little thing. It goes back. So you don't necessarily want to like sit on that one, but then you can do. So I got suckered into World Cruise TikTok last year. If you guys were following, it was a nine month cruise, I think, that they literally went around the world, and people were on it for the full thing. But then there were also people that would get on for segments of it, because it was cool that like you could get on in Singapore.
Yes.
And you could do like the Southeast Asian thing, and then you could like get back off of it again.
Yeah.
Or you could just do the entire the entire
One of the
thing.
owners that a company I worked out of, she was on a world cruise for the whole year, and her son would join her on segments. He would just fly in and out on a segment with her, but she lived on a cruise. She was always there.
Oh my
So
God. How cool is
that was like years ago. But yeah, she basically lived, I think it was the QE2 or something.
Wow.
She was always on it. So
Yeah, it's so cruising is just so if you guys have not done it before, cruising is so interesting. And I know there's people that have that like I'm not going to be stuck in the middle of. You don't feel that way when you're on it, and you truthfully can see land on cruise ships, especially in the Caribbean, for a pretty significant portion of time. Like when we were coming down from New Jersey, we could see the east coast of the United States for the vast majority of like the thing, but you don't feel like you're not on it. This is not a little boat. This is not you're on.
Unless you're in like Iceland, which I just did. And you were in the middle of the ocean.
Did you go on a cruise to Iceland?
Yeah, this past summer I went 2 weeks from Iceland to Norway.
How was
and
that?
That was the bumpiest ride of my whole life.
Really?
Yeah, it was a little crazy weather, and that's why now anything won't faze me anymore. But we did a 2-week adventure. We left Iceland. Our first full day, it was rocky. And the only reason I didn't like it was because there was no land around us. But it was the most memorable vacation I'll ever take. So it was absolutely stunning. The fjords, it was beautiful. But yeah, that was the only time I have to say I was scared that there was no land around us. So
like, this is
we were up by the Arctic Circle. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So
Look at those light boats. Like, ooh, there's no heater in there, right?
Yeah. It was a little bumpy ride out there, but it was an older ship because most of the larger ships can't do those itineraries.
Yeah.
So you are going to get one of those smaller ones when you want to do something more exotic, because these mega ships can't get into the ports. So
is that something to think about when you're booking these? Is not all ships can go to every place.
Absolutely. Those big ones right now with Royal Caribbean, they can't go into Europe. Some of the ports can't hold them. So yeah, you have to think about if you're going to go on an exotic vacation, you are going to go on those smaller, older ships.
Now, do you do river cruises?
Yeah. Viking's one of the popular ones that I do.
Have you, do you know?
I know exactly what you're talking about. On our honeymoon, we went to Portugal, and there was a British couple there. They like swore by him. It's like, oh, it's absolutely brilliant, these cruises. And he was just like, he loved them. Yeah. And I have a client going on them in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They
they're
seem
really nice.
Yeah.
They're more on the like, they're not, you're not going to find the casinos on them. It's a chill vacation. So I always say, bring another couple with you. You're going to be playing cards at night and things like that.
And there's no kids on those, right?
Most of the time, no.
Yeah.
No.
I learned about Viking River cruises because I was a Downton Abbey aficionado, and Viking Cruise sponsored PBS Downton Abbey. And like, so you essentially watched a Viking Cruise commercial before every single episode. And I was like, that is how I'm going to spend my retirement right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go on one, but it's just, I got to wait a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, we are the person who owned our house maybe like 2 people ago must have always gone because we get like stuff every day in the mail. I like literally had to call them like, stop sending us so many brochures.
Yeah.
You're like,
They
I have
do.
small children. This is not going to work.
We're not doing this for 40 years. We're good.
Yeah, I think one of the other cool things about cruising in general, and it was the premise behind my husband and I's honeymoon cruise as we went on this European cruise, was to try places that we wouldn't have necessarily gone to otherwise. So like our cruise stopped in Malta. I would have never gone on vacation in Malta in my life. I didn't even know where Malta is. I
agree with you. I was the same way.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Malta was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. And then there were other places like we went to Rome, and I actually studied abroad in Italy when I was in college, but we never went to Rome while I was there. I was in Sicily, but Rome was hot and beautiful. We did the Vatican. We saw the Colosseum. I don't really know. I don't really want to go back. It was cool. It was so hot. It was so, it was like New York City old. That's but there were other places that we went. Like we were in Venice for 2 days and I could move there and live there for the rest of my life. Like it was so amazing.
You get to stop at different places. And then if you want to go back, go and fly there directly and spend a week there.
Yeah, you now
It's
know.
good to test them out.
That's why I like cruise. That's how I found Aruba. My very first cruise, we stopped in Aruba. I've been going there ever since. So it's been 20 years I've been going back there only because I stopped there on a cruise vacation. I fell in love with that place. So.
Yeah, you were like, I love this. Now, what do you have any advice for people? Like, what's a big mistake travelers make? Like, if you sort of see, people booking vacations or whatever, is it just trying to wing it and do it on their own?
Yeah, I think you spend extra money, or people don't plan all the expenses that will come into, you get off the ship and then you're like, okay, I didn't do an excursion. Now you have to go find someone and spend money to go to XYZ, or you want to go here. And if you can budget everything ahead of time, you can do that. And how much, you're not spending that extra money. So I just tell people, you really should work with an agent, plan it all out. They'll tell you the extra expenses. But if you wing it, you're probably going to be paying more than you expected. So
yeah, I think probably give you an idea. Like this is an excursion you should probably really try versus this one I've heard bad feedback from. Like, so you get the experience of doing it yourself, but also probably feedback from your clients, right?
Yeah,
like,
what was a waste of money? Someone will come back and say, I would never do that again.
Yeah,
and that's what I would share to somebody else. So I try to get people to take the excursions with the cruise lines or with a vendor. But there are places where I'm like, you can go on your own. Go on your own, get in a taxi. It's cheaper. Do this if that's what you want to do. But yeah, I mean, some people waste money just on transportation and, restaurants. And then they're like, they hated it. And, so.
You're like, I could have told you where to eat there, where to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it true that if you are not back in time from your non-cruise ship sponsored excursion, they're gonna leave you there?
Yeah, they will. I mean, you see those dock runners all the time. It's all over social media and we laugh, but I've experienced it. I've seen it happen. I mean, some people show up almost an hour after the time. Do you think they're waiting for you? So if you're on an excursion, and I've been on one where we were late and they wait for you. I even just 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh my God, we're going to be late. Are they going to, the guy's like, don't worry. I already called them. They know we're coming. So I get stressed out over that. So that's why I tell people to book it through the cruise line. You never know what's going to happen. I broke my foot once and on an island, and it took me forever to run for where we had to go. And, I had I forgot who was with, I said, go and tell them I'm coming. But I was hopping along. I broke my foot. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So things happen.
What do you have any, kind of places where people should not cut corners?
I think on the accommodations, on wherever they're traveling, whether it's a hotel or a cruise ship, get a room that's going to be comfortable for you. You're going to spend time in it. Even people say, I only sleep in it. No, people always complain about the room. I just had someone do that. I would never do an inside cabin again. You're on a cruise ship. You want to see the water. That's why you're there. Get a nice cabin, a decent one. And there, the rates aren't bad. Maybe $50 more, but do that. Don't cut quarters there. Making sure you have that you're eating well. Get a package with specialty dining if you're really into food. Don't do the buffet all the time. Go sit in the restaurant. I'm trying to think of other things I tell people not. I just think the shore excursions, you really have to price them out. That's where people spend a lot more money than they should and save money with doing that.
Yeah, I was surprised about the excursion on our cruise, like just what the costs were. And I think we had some feedback on some of the ones that we went to that like we went to the Kennedy Space Center when we were in Cape Canaveral, but our boat didn't get in until noon. We didn't realize that there's things that you reserve in advance there. You can't reserve till you're there. Well, all the people who come in the morning reserve them. There were no reservations left. And it was stuff like that like the feedback I wish we had known because it was an expensive excursion. But yeah, the excursions definitely add up. But I also think at least for like having kids, like the places we were going, you're not like we were in Nassau. You're not just going to get off the boat and wander around Nassau. Like it's not a place to do that. But there are places where you can just get off and hang out.
Like Aruba's one of them.
Yeah.
You can get off the ship. I tell people you don't need an excursion. What do you want to do? You want to go to a beach? I'll tell you where to go. Pay for a rental fee, for the chair if you want a chair. But yeah, there are certain places like Jamaica. Don't get off and just walk around. You're going to be harassed. They're going to try to take money from you. Like just certain places do an excursion, certain places you can be comfortable to do that. I've learned, I've pretty much been at every island in the Caribbean.
Really?
So most of them I know where you can and can't get off on your own. So, but yeah.
Do you have any travel hacks? Anything that people, because people are always, especially we talk about the hack a lot on the podcast.
Yeah.
Millennials love a hack.
Yes. I post a lot of hacks from experiences. So, if you're doing a cruise, always go in a day before. I recently was in Florida. My luggage didn't make it there. I was fine. I was staying in Florida, but there was this gentleman in front of me. His bag didn't make it, and he had to go over to the cruise ship, and he had nothing. So it was really sad. And I was like, wow. And he had no insurance, and he just had what was in his backpack. So if you're doing a cruise, definitely, and a lot of cruise lines now are telling you have to go in the day before because of all these different airline cancellations. But also as a packer, I know we overpack, a lot of people overpack, but pack essentials in your carry-on, whether it's toothbrush, toothpaste, any of that stuff, a brush, pack like if you're going to the Caribbean, do a bathing suit and a change of clothes. Do that. Make sure it's with you at all times. I tell people that all the time, just in case your bags don't make it to the destination. You're going to spend a lot of money at the store, at the hotel, or if you're on a cruise ship, you're paying a lot more money. Sunscreen is expensive. You have to pay for it at a resort. So pack, do as much as you can with a carry-on. I know I'm not someone, I have to bring a check bag no matter where we go. I'm just not, I can't pack everything in that, carry-on for me. But try to pack as much as you can and carry on and have it with you. Save money because it does get expensive. Once you get to a destination, you have to run out and get everything.
Yeah, to buy all new stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, and another hack I tell people, take pictures of everything. Take pictures of your passport. Take pictures of your travel documents and your luggage. It has come into play where if your luggage is lost on a cruise ship, have a picture of it so they can see it and see if they can find it quicker. I'm always telling people to take pictures of everything and check your passport. So many people don't check their passport expiration date. Yep. Do that. Most countries won't accept it unless you're, it has to be 6 months after your departure date that has to be valid. And a lot of people don't think about that. So
should you bring a passport on a cruise, even if it's a cruise that's starting and ending in the U.S.?
100% yes. If you got sick, and people do, and got stuck in the country that you're in, you need a passport to get back home, or you're going to be taking a couple extra days there, and it's all out of your pocket. So yes, I always tell people, if someone's booking a Caribbean round trip Florida, I'm like, get a passport. Still get a passport. You're going to Mexico. You're going to Jamaica. You need it. If something happened, you never know what can happen. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about, I know there's like, Carnival credit cards, or I have a client that has Carnival stock, and now, is that something that was still cheaper to do through you, even with that, or can you combine those things, or is that like are those worth having?
Oh no, credit cards, like Royal Caribbean has one. Yeah. They just give you extra special perks by using their credit card. When you book a cruise, you can use it towards like a shipboard credit, or if there's a special rate, you can still book it with a travel agency.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Especially even casinos are becoming popular. You spend so much money in that casino, they're giving you a free cruise, but your travel agent can still book it for you.
Got it.
So, and do everything with it. So.
Yeah, I was, again, you guys know I love the tiki-taki. I was watching some guy who he cruises year round for free from casino credits.
I have a girlfriend that does it too.
Yeah. How cool is that?
Now you're spending that money some way though.
Right. Yeah. They're making their money on you. Yeah. They are going to make their money on you.
Yeah. My brother just did it last week. He was first cruise on the ship, time going, and he spent so much money in the casino. the last night we were on the sailing, they gave him a free cruise.
Really?
Not me. I got 50% off, but he got a free cruise. I'm like, really, John? That's how much money you spent during this cruise at the casino? So yeah, they give them away.
Yeah. Well, I think that's an important point to bring up because, we talked before, but like having you book things for them does not mean it's an extra cost. There's no extra fee. You're getting paid by the cruise provider or whoever you're doing the group trips with.
Vendors,
so it kind of behooves you to use a professional in that regard.
Yeah. People think you're going to, we're going to charge you. In most cases, we do not. I mean, I get paid by the vendors that we book the packages through. So.
Now, is there a time of year that it's cheaper to travel? Is there, you mentioned like shoulder seasons. Tell us a little bit, because again, millennials love to save dough. So
no. So if you're looking to do something like a European vacation or an Alaska vacation, you want to go in those shoulder months. May and September, to me, if a shoulder month is off peak. So going in May, you're going to save so much more money than going in July when it's peak season. It's still beautiful in Europe. We were there. I was in Rome in May, and it was gorgeous. It was warm weather, just less crowds too. So that's a benefit. So doing that, if you can, I know with dates, it doesn't work sometimes. Teachers have to go through the summer, but go on those off months if you can to save a lot more money. And Caribbean, there's certain times a year that you can go down the Caribbean and get a real good deal. People always ask, when can I go and I can get a cheap rate? Well, maybe between Thanksgiving and Christmas, the beginning of December is usually good. April takes a little dip. But you got to remember now in the Caribbean, in the summer months, the ships are gone. There's only limited ships there. So you're not going to get a really good deal, or you're not going to get a low rate because most of the ships are gone. So there's limited number of ships in the Caribbean. I find that every year when I'm looking for group rates. So yeah, you just kind of have to be flexible with your dates to save money. If you can be flexible, you can find a really good deal.
Yeah. And I think weather is something that people just don't always contemplate. Like Europe is a great example. Mm-hmm. We were actually, my daughter told me she wanted to go to Paris next year after Christmas. Mm-hmm. It's 40 degrees the week after Christmas in Paris. That is not a vacation for me. But then my honeymoon cruise was in July, and my husband will tell everybody this great story about me having been overserved some wine at lunch when we were in Florence, and it was like 95 degrees out, and I threw a temper tantrum about walking down a sunny street. I wanted to go down a shaded street, and I walked down the end of it, got to the end, it was like, which way? And my husband was like, back the direction we came in, down the other street that's sunny that you didn't want to go on. But it was so hot. Yes. Oh my God. We were like sweltering.
Yeah. I remember being on a tour in Rome, and I was like, it was hot that day with the, and it was crowded, but my tour guide was like, yeah, be here in July. The heat is double, and there's more people coming out here. So, this is a time to be doing it, and you're saving money. I mean, you really do save a lot of money by doing May or September for those itineraries. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just kind of thinking, like, you've traveled a lot, you've been on a lot of cruises, you've been to a lot of destinations. Do you have any like favorite trips that you've ever taken, or itineraries or anything like that?
Well, Iceland was one of my most favorite ones. My husband and I it was amazing. It was beautiful. It was just different than the Caribbean. I'm a Caribbean girl. I love going to the Caribbean, but I'm looking forward to Alaska. There's always new things that I like to do, but Caribbean's my number one adventure. But I have to say Iceland topped it this year. I don't like the cold, though. I really do like the warm. But there's just so many destinations out there. My biggest one that I'm looking forward to doing is Fiji. I really want to go in the Tahitian Islands. So that is one place I really want to do. Maybe not on a cruise. It's hard because some of the older ships are out there. I'd rather just go island hopping. But yeah, my destinations are always the warmer ones. So I like the Caribbean, the deeper Caribbean, Southern Caribbean. It's always not, Aruba, Barbados. Those islands are really nice to go to.
I'm a warmer weather traveler.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. People go to Florida like right now, and it's like, I've been there twice in the last 2 months, and it's cold. And even the Bahamas, it's like, no, I have to go farther.
Yeah, I need it to be actually warm. That's me. Yeah. Like, I feel like being in the Northeast, if I'm leaving, it's got to be warm.
Yeah,
especially this time of year.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So,
are you finding cruising to be becoming more popular with younger travelers? I feel like even like when we went on our honeymoon, whatever, like 14 years ago, we were the youngest people on the ship. It was a lot of older people, but I feel like the tide seemed to, like Virgin especially, like that's a young crowd there.
Yeah, it is. No, a lot, all ages are going now. And the best thing about cruises, you really can budget for everything. Write down, if you really want to stay within a budget, you can budget everything from the time you leave into the time you get back, whether it's gratuities, food, beverage, you can do everything in a package. And people love that. Like, how much do I need to go on a cruise for 7 nights to the Caribbean? And you can come down to everything. And usually it can pretty much down to a T what you have to pay. So if you're on board the ship and you're going to stay on the ship, you have a drink package and everything's included. There's nothing else you have to spend money on.
You're just there. Is the drink package usually worth it?
That's the number one question on cruises with guests now. The prices have been going up, so people are like, "Is it worth it?" I'm like, "Well, tell me how many drinks you think you would drink." It's not worth it for me, but it could be worth it for my son. You know, so we always have to look at, okay, for me, I don't do. First of all, I'm at a higher tier, so I get free drinks anyway, so I don't need it. But that I just say, okay, how many drinks do you think you're going to do? Do you drink all day? And then do you take a nap and go back and drink a nap? Yes, get it then. It's going to be worth it. Because the drinks aren't cheap on a cruise ship. So, or even an all-inclusive, when people ask about all-inclusive. Are you big drinkers? If you're not, don't do an all-inclusive, because that's where all the money's going. So, but yeah, I mean, more and more people are asking about that question. And you have to really think about, how much do you really want to spend on alcohol, or are you going to drink? So,
yeah. I'm again a math girl. So on our cruise, we did get the drink package, but I had calculated out what I needed to drink every day to make that worth it. Yeah. And it was a lot.
It is.
It didn't happen most days, but it was a shocking amount that I was like, I don't know that I can do it.
Yeah. I'm not a drinker during the day. So but you have to be like 8 drinks a day at least. Yeah. And I'm like, no, after 3, I'd be passed out during the day. Yeah. So I'd be sleeping by dinner time. So
yeah. Well, and then on the days you're off the ship all day, you're not using it. Right. And that was kind of a surprise. I only have a couple more questions. One of my questions was, we went to Perfect Day at CocoCay for the first time.
Yeah, I love that place.
And it was my kids. We spent $1 gajillion for them to go to Atlantis while we were on this cruise. Okay. That was not their favorite part. Perfect Day at CocoCay was their favorite. Are these private sort of locations and destinations? Like, all the cruise ships are sort of starting these. Like, is it just a new place for them to go? Do you find that this is like an incentive for people? Like, they're picking cruises based on if they're going to these private islands?
Yeah, they are, because they're getting really upset when they miss it. Most of them are all in the Bahamas, and when you have bad weather, they can't make it into these ports. It's just happened in February. I mean, 2 of them were down for a little while. The docks, wash away and things like that. But it is becoming... I wasn't into it for a while, but then I just recently went to Perfect. I fell in love with that place. They have the adult section, and then they have the kids section, and kids are loving the water slides, and that's what they want to do. Yeah. And then the adults can be, if they're by themselves, they don't have to be with the kids. It's not all, you have to be all together. So it is a place where some adults can go one way, families can go a different way, and everyone's having a blast. I think they're fantastic. So, and I really was never getting off the ship anymore, because I did it back in the day. I'm like, I don't need to do it again. But Perfect Day is one of my favorite places.
It was. Yeah. My kids are like, why are there no hotels there? That's where we want to stay.
That's what I said too.
It was magical. Yes. The food was great. There were iguanas. You've got kids. We probably spent an hour watching these 2 iguanas that we named, and we followed around. We had to discuss that we don't feed the iguana snacks.
Yeah.
My kids wanted to feed them, but we were in the pool. We were in the water park. We were at the beach. There was unlimited ice cream.
There. Yeah.
You eat a lot of ice cream on a cruise.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
I mean, I would love to go just there and back. And they do have those weekend ones where it's Nassau and Perfect Day. That's a great itinerary. But if it's bad, forget it. You end up at sea. Yeah. So, and a lot of people miss those ports, and I feel bad, but it is what it is. If it's weather, you can't control it. So.
What are your questions? What do you got?
I think that's kind of all I had. Really.
I want to go on another cruise. Is that?
They sound nice. Yeah.
Are you going to take your kids on a cruise?
I think we might have to now. Yeah. It sounds like it's much better.
Yeah. At least travel at once. And then the kids clubs, like you said, my son loved it. They have so many amazing things. I'm taking the kids next door going to Alaska, and they've never been on a cruise. They're going to be blown away by the kids' rooms. So I keep telling the parents, you can leave them there and do your own thing. Yeah, we were really impressed. The ship that we were on had essentially like 3 kids clubs. It had an infant kid club, the kids club that my kid went to, and then there's like a
pre-teen kids club that's like 13 to 17, I think. And the kids club that my kids were in, they were all together.
Yeah.
There was video games, there was craft, there was dancing. They had contests. There was like different stuff every time they went. I will say my oldest is 10. She was probably aging out of it a little bit. But my 2 younger ones loved it. And like, for us, we dropped them off and went and got a massage.
Yeah.
We dropped them off and we went to a show that was like an adult. When we actually had a family member with us as well. So we didn't have to leave them a lot necessarily, but like you can leave your kid there till like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like this is like a late night situation.
And they don't want to leave afterward. They're just like, no, we can stay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing them react to those clubs.
And that's included, Derek, by the way.
I like that.
The kids club is included. It is not. Well,
does it have a lock on the door so I could leave them in there? Or?
Well, you do. You leave them there and they cannot leave unless you check them out.
Got it. Yeah.
But they'll like call you if they need you. And I was really impressed. Like you go the day that you board the ship and you like meet the kids club staff. Yeah. You learn their credentials. They like kind of walk you through everything. And you know, my kids are old enough that I'm like, if somebody didn't like this, they would just tell me.
Yeah.
And so the first time we left them there, we only left them there for like 40 minutes. We figured like, go test it out. We'll come back and get you. If you hate it, I won't leave you again. And they all liked it. And my oldest again was like watching the teens, and the teens had an indoor space, an outdoor space. They had like a lounge. They had a video game room, and that I could see her like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like
that's go to there.
Yeah. That's not going to happen for you yet. But
teens it's tough on a cruise ship because the age groups, if they're with younger kids, you know, they separate them. So sometimes that is harder. And also know though on teens things, they can leave when they want to.
Yeah.
So people don't realize that. I learned that with one of my friend's kids, and they can leave, you know, they can check themselves out. But the other ones, you have to go there. You have to sign them out and they're great. But I tell people they're becoming so popular. You need to plan ahead, get on board and go sign up for them because there's only so many kids they can take.
Yeah.
So do that right away. So
yeah, that was one of the things that we did. But no, and I think just from the family, you know, I know a lot of the people that listen have families. Like because I went on cruises like you when I was younger, that I was like, these are fun for 20-year-olds. The kid stuff on board, we did skydiving. We did the indoor skydiving.
Oh yeah.
Magical for my children. Yep. We did bumper cars. There was an arcade. There was, you know, hot tubs, the pools, the shows were kind of kid geared. It was such a kid friendly trip that I was like kind of shocked. So
and these bigger ships are just coming up with new things. So
we weren't even on a huge one. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
We are going to put Pam's contact information in the show notes. So if anybody wants to reach out, we will have her contact information, and I'm ready to book another cruise.
Yeah. Well, let's go.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.